Welcome to Plot Point. This is Ivan Renacruz, your literary guide. This is the podcast that explores essential literature from across centuries and continents. Each episode, we break down a single work, covering the plot, the essential story, then diving into the point, the critical analysis, context, and enduring meaning. Ready to unlock the secret life of books? Let's begin. Today on Plot Point, we travel to England for the Old English literature, A Banished Wife's Complaint. First, let's establish the plot, the essential narrative, characters, and events that define A Banished Wife's Complaint. The lyric narrates the grief of a young woman who has been unjustly separated from her husband, possibly due to a scheme involving her in-laws or an earlier feud. The unnamed wife recounts how her husband, the lord of the land, was driven into exile, forced to leave their home and wander far away across the sea in a dreary and isolated place. She vividly describes the desolate natural settings, reflecting her own intense misery and loneliness after she too was forced to move to a miserable solitary earth cave far from her loved ones. Her complaint dwells on her husband's sorrowful state and her personal suffering in this cold, empty existence, longing for the day when they might be reunited and their sorrow finally ends. Now that we've mapped the story, we shift to the point, the critical analysis, themes, and enduring relevance of this masterwork. The lyric articulates the profound psychological damage inflicted upon a woman whose identity is entirely dependent on her male-dominated social position. Her forced isolation in the lonely earth cave underscores how the patriarchal structure treats her as expendable property whose value is tied only to her husband's presence or status. The wife's consuming sorrow and constant mourning reflect the internalization of her trauma, a mental state where the desolate outer landscape mirrors her inner emptiness and feeling of worthlessness due to the loss of her societal role. Her continuous lament about the separation is a deep expression of having her agency violently stripped away, leaving her with no purpose or voice outside of her grief. That brings us to the end of our discussion. We've navigated the plot and analyzed the point. Thank you for exploring this literature with me. Please subscribe to Plot Point and leave a review wherever you listen. Join me next time for a new book and a new journey. Until then, keep reading between the lines.